goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Connaughton, joined by my fellow co-host and filmmaker, Lane Woolscroft.
Oh my God, it's just me.
It's just you.
There's no John. This is so weird.
Yeah, I mean...
It's a void.
It is kind of a void, but I mean, usually it's always... Like, we haven't had an episode where it's just you and I since, like, the first episode.
I know, and we tried to Skype him in, but, like, his computer wasn't working super well, so...
Yeah, but it's nice. It's nice.
It's a little change of pace.
It's a little change of pace. I mean... John's our wild card, so I don't know how this one's going to go. It might be more serious.
It might be.
Than usual.
Neither of us are going to cover our face with our hands, I'm pretty sure. Though I don't know. With the movie we're doing today, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
That's true. So we're on episode 79, and today we're going to be talking, and it's kind of just in time for Thanksgiving.
It is.
And that's why I picked this episode, this particular movie, because, I mean, last year we did, what the fuck was it? Poltergeist? No, it's a Poltergeist.
No, it was Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then we also did that other Thanksgiving movie with Body by Jake.
Oh, Home for the Holidays?
Home for the Holidays.
What it was? Literally the two movies that I regret passing over my eyeballs the most in my life.
Me too.
I mean, I know it gave us the wonderful gift of turfucking. Which might be the coolest thing I've ever said. But
I still say that you need to make a t-shirt. We should have Psycho Show shirts that say turf fucking on it.
It would be incredible. I mean, with like a little silhouette of like a perfectly cooked turkey.
But I have a feeling that the people behind Thanksgiving will come after us for like copyright.
I don't think they would, because I invented turfucking and they didn't invent the turducken. Maybe the people who invented the turducken would come after us.
It's true.
We could have a serious situation on our hands.
But instead of doing another Thanksgiving
Two on the
movie,
nose, if you will.
It's a little bit. We thought we'd give you something to really sink your teeth into.
Ayo! Bring in the transition. Even without John.
So, just in time for your feast, we've got 2007's Teeth.
Teeth.
Yes.
Dentata.
Vagina dentata.
It's real. Okay, so we're going to spoil the shit out of that in a little bit.
Yep.
But it was funny. We were about to, like, get ready to set up to record, and Brian was like, oh, like, what's our news bit? I was like, are you kidding? Our news bit is, like, every fucking predator asshole is finally getting into trouble, and we have to discuss it in detail.
You mean we could call this Rapey Hollywood Strikes Back?
Oh, Brian, we said we weren't going to be glib. No,
but I have to say it. I have to say it. I'm the dick in the room. I have to say it.
I know. We have to be a little outrageous.
Take the slack for John.
We got to be a little outrageous, I guess. But no, we can't be glib about this, because I am so here for all of this. The fact that these people are doing shitty things, and they're finally having some fucking consequences.
I mean, I
can't tell you.
We missed you for Weinstein, so I mean, this is like,
I know.
I mean, we had you for Spacey the first time around.
Right, the first time around, but we got a second round of Spacey, so we have to talk about this, Brian. So for the movie that he was supposed to be in, it was about the Getty kidnapping.
Yep.
And I mean, this is unprecedented.
It is, because
he was in the movie All the Money in the World that's coming out in December, and it's still coming out in December despite this development. But
it really is coming out in December. Are you sure they didn't push it back?
The 22nd. No, it was an early report, but I think it's still true. They said they weren't changing it. Oh my God. That's what you get for looking at news on your computer. It just plays a video without asking you.
I'm keeping that in, by the way.
We're going to talk about consent later.
Okay.
But yeah, so all the reports that I heard, this report that I'm reading right here, this is as of yesterday's date. It said that it's still going to keep at the current release date.
Wow.
Well, they would have to, because I think they would lose money if they waited, And
I mean, you figure they've already bought the space in the theaters, because a lot of people don't understand that theaters are still independent. So I mean, they're basically leasing that stuff out.
Absolutely.
So I mean, you would be left without a film around that time. But what's interesting is what they're doing. They took him out.
They took so Ridley Scott, the director of this film.
Yeah,
he took out all the scenes with Spacey, and he's going to replace him with Christopher Plummer.
Wow.
Both Michelle Williams and the other big name that's in this. Who else is in this? I can't remember. Ew, is it really Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, it is.
Sorry, but
You don't like Marky Mark?
But they both agreed he's the worst actor that maybe ever lived.
Oh, come on. He was so good in The Happening.
Oh my god. That movie might be one of the best, like, worst ever.
Yeah, it is.
So, but anyway, but yeah, I didn't realize it was him. But the stars all agreed to, like, do the reshoots with Christopher Plummer. They're still, working to the same release date. I mean, for Ridley Scott to do this, I mean, this really sets a tone. And I think that this was a great way to show Hollywood that there are alternatives. I feel like they're freaking out a little bit, Hollywood, because they're making a lot of big decisions.
It's literally one day after another. You're getting another one.
I know. Well, and I think
every day
people
there's a
are
new
finally
one.
Feeling like the time is right to come forward. And what a shame for victims to finally say, hey, maybe today I'll be believed. I mean, that's just disgusting that's how it is, but that's how it's becoming. But what I think is interesting is, when the first stuff about Kevin Spacey came out and they just canceled House of Cards. That's a lot of jobs.
Well, they didn't cancel it.
They didn't?
No.
Because I heard
it's
they
still
pulled the
going.
plug.
They pulled the plug on him.
Okay.
They didn't pull the plug on the show.
I heard they canceled the show totally, so they didn't?
No, they didn't. From what I understand, House of Cards is still going on. They're just not going to have Kevin Spacey next season.
Well, good, because I think that,
Which I don't know how you do that, because he kind of was like the central focus of the show.
My understanding is that Robin Wright could totally take over and it would make sense in a
That's what my wife
story
says,
way.
too.
So that was my understanding.
Yeah.
I don't watch the show. My mom's obsessed with it, apparently.
Yeah, my wife watches it.
My mom has good Netflix taste. She just, like, killed it on Stranger Things. Like, she loved it. But yeah, so I mean, this is an unprecedented alternative, to just shutting things down. Now, I'm glad they're not shutting down House of Cards, and my mistake. But to re-edit the movie, to change it in this way, this is what I need. Like, I need when predators are finally outed and their victims are finally believed. Like, just go the fuck away.
If only here's the thing: if only this extended to politics, right?
I mean,
because it seems to be that but what I'm saying is, it seems to stop at politics now.
I mean, well, I was reading an article, was it last night or the night before, that people are talking about Bill Clinton again.
Yeah.
And that needs to be talked about for sure.
Yeah, he does. It does. Absolutely.
He's left quite a trail of victims in his wake as well. So,
but I'm just saying, for me, I noticed that in Hollywood it's okay. But
in Hollywood it's showing that it's not okay. And
no,
maybe,
but what I mean by okay, I mean it's just people are believing the victims.
Yeah. And this
Hollywood.
This feels like an important first step. I hope this continues. And it's funny because this is a good transition, because as much as it hurts me to know if someone's a shitbag, I want to know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you want to know they're a shitbag.
Louis C.K. This hurts.
Here's the thing, Louis C.K. We owe the popularity of podcasts to Louis C.K.
Really?
Yes,
I didn't
because
know that.
Louis C.K. was one of the first people to really monetize and take advantage of the podcast medium.
Well, he's a human piece of shit.
He is a human
matter.
piece of shit.
So his story.
That's the sad part.
His story came out. Now, apparently, this was something that Gawker broke like 5 years ago, but now it's finally in the forefront. We need to see it. His bullshit humble brag apology made me see red, like I was wearing goggles. I mean, nothing like talking about how great you are and how you took advantage of everyone's love for your greatness. Like,
yes, it was very much like, well, I was young at the time, and I was so powerful,
and like,
and people were drawn to my power. So yeah, I took advantage of.
What
them.
blows my mind is that he knows exactly
he does.
why what he did was wrong, and he still fucking did it. That's what makes me the sickest.
Here's the thing too that my wife brought up. You gotta be telling me, you gotta be kidding me if you believe that no one else around Louis C.K. knew.
Oh, they fucking knew. His manager knew.
But what I'm saying, like, you've got his best friends like Jerry Seinfeld, Jon Stewart, and all these other people. You're telling me they didn't know that he was doing this stuff? They absolutely had to know.
I mean, if the reports are true, his manager definitely knew.
Oh yeah,
like his manager definitely knew, and I thought that was interesting because you mentioned Jon Stewart, but Louis C.K. was supposed to appear at the Night of Too Many Stars, his charity event that he does every year. And I guess when Jon Stewart was on the Today Show, Matt Lauer asked him about Louis C.K. and he said that like sexual harassment is rampant in Hollywood, and he said like you know, he kind of hinted that it's like endemic at NBC in particular.
Yeah.
So I think that that's important to note too. I really hope if there are more problems that it comes out.
Well,
And,
I think
you know,
it's,
we get more information there. Because like I said, like
I think it's only a
just-
matter of time.
Just bring it out. Just tell me, everybody, because here's the thing. I used to think Louis C.K. was hilarious. Now I fucking
Not so
hate him
much.
so much I can't focus on anything else. And I know we've talked about that before. Can you separate the artist from the art? In this case, I fucking can't. When you get to
really.
sexual allegations, I'm done. You know, and like, yeah, have I seen Rosemary's Baby? Once. I saw it once.
Yeah.
Will I go into a theater and watch a Woody Allen movie? I will not. I will absolutely not. You know, I mean, for me, I won't separate it.
Yeah.
I won't say I can't, but I won't because this is too important.
Would you say you feel the same way about, say, Alfred Hitchcock?
That's a good question because you know,
Because
well, too, because we're even a little young for the Roman Polanski stuff. I mean, we weren't
We are.
really.
I would say the Woody
it's-
Allen stuff, that's more in our purview because
It was a little more recent.
We were
We were a little
young at the
older.
time when that happened.
we were a little older, you know,
Yeah.
than we would, you know, I mean, obviously the Roman Polanski
but I mean,
stuff was long.
what
It
Hitchcock
doesn't
did,
feel as visceral, you know, but yeah, I mean, you know,
well,
that
no
that
one
guy-
knew about
right.
that. That's
and,
the thing.
And you know he's a shitbag. Like it's tough. It's really tough. I think for me, for all this stuff coming out now, it's like in real time I can be like, okay, good. Fuck
Yeah.
that guy, fuck that guy, fuck that guy. You know, like
Yeah.
in a real space. I mean, even somebody like fucking Brett Ratner, who I want to talk about next.
Well, no one liked Brett Ratner,
right?
To
Like
begin with.
nobody likes
Like
that guy.
I was like, okay, we all knew he was a human piece of shit.
Did you see Ellen Page's like discussion of
Yes.
him?
Yeah.
That was like the most heartbreaking thing I've ever read. For you to be 18 and to have to put up with that shit. Like, I love her anyway, but she was so eloquent. Mm-hmm. I mean, just to write that beautiful piece, like I hated that she had to have gone through any of that.
For those of you who don't know, Ellen Page was in. This was while they were shooting X-Men 3, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, and
The Last Stand, right?
Yeah, The Last Stand.
Ugh.
Yeah, bad movie to
The
begin with.
weakest of the franchise.
Wolverine.
I meant like of the actual X-Men movies,
Wolverine,
not those
or
origins.
Wolverine.
Not that origins.
But
bullshit.
anyway, Ellen Page basically wrote. I think was it on Twitter?
I read it on Facebook because it was super
Okay.
long. It was super long.
Yeah,
It
but
was
she
not-
basically detailed how Brett Ratner suspected that she was gay.
bullied
Okay.
her.
Keep in mind, Ellen Page at the time did not really know what her sexuality
Yeah,
was.
she said
she
at
was
the
still
time
discovering
to herself she didn't
herself.
even know she was gay, really.
Right, and that's the thing. And Brett Ratner basically, in front of cast and crew,
Mm-hmm.
yelled an insult saying that she should just go and kiss a co-star and get over with it.
He said something else.
What else did he say? He said other things.
He
than
didn't
that.
say that they should kiss.
Oh,
he
they
said
should-
that
they
a,
should- they
he
should
said that a
screw.
very much older than her producer should just fuck Ellen already
Oh.
and let her know she's gay.
Well, that's worse too.
Yeah. Well, then did
That's
you see
much
the
worse.
thing? Did you see the thing about the T-shirts?
No.
Oh my God! So he was like making a big fuss because he was handing out all these Team Ratner T-shirts to everybody. I guess in the
Who
film.
the fuck wants a Team
And
Ratner t-shirt?
No one, literally no one. But
You burn that.
Ellen wouldn't wear it. She wouldn't wear it, and
yeah.
he was like forcing it on her, and she was like, "I'm not on your team." And she like said that to him, and she was reprimanded by producers afterwards that she was told she couldn't speak to him like that.
That, I mean, that just tells you that this is a systemic problem.
Right. And like, this is why this is so important.
Yeah.
You know, as much as it's been exhausting, I mean, the year has been so tiring because everything is awful. I mean, we've had all these hurricanes and the president is a mess. And,
I honestly believe that the president is the reason why this shit's happening. It only makes sense.
I couldn't tell you.
Every day people have to turn on the fucking news and see a walking example of a male chauvinist pig.
yeah.
in
of the
power.
privilege. It's
And
true.
I honestly believe that these victims, who probably stayed quiet for years,
I know.
are saying, you know what? Fuck it. I'm sick and tired of this shit.
it.
I'm sick and tired of this shit. If I can't take that son of a bitch down, I'll take the son of a bitch down who personally hurt me.
Yeah.
You know what? And more power to
I
them.
would see that.
More power to them.
Honestly, like I am so in awe of everybody that's been able to come forward and tell their story.
Yes.
I mean, all of the people that spoke out against Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
And all of the people that have, have been brave enough to tell their stories.
Yeah.
I mean, and too, I don't want to say it's like brave in the sense that the flip side of that coin is being silent is not being brave. Nobody owes us their story.
no.
Survivors don't owe anybody anything.
I don't like
but-
the word brave. I look at it as it takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there publicly.
Right. And
risk the ire of assholes who think that you're only in this for money.
Yeah.
Who literally believe that, oh, you're lying. You must be in this for a payoff.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I would like to say really quick, though, I think it also takes a tremendous amount of guts to live with any kind of abuse, even if you're keeping silent. I think that still takes a lot of guts because, everybody's approach is different. But yeah, I have a family friend who we were talking about Cosby. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
We were talking about Cosby and they were like, well, I just think it's weird that all these people are coming forward now. Like they just clearly want money. I'm like, what money do you think they're going to get? Like, and normally, he's one of my mom's friends.
Yeah.
So he's, a good deal older than I am. And normally, like, you'd want to keep the peace and like, you wouldn't want to get in like I wouldn't want to get into a big thing normally with my mom's friend that we like never get to see.
I would.
It was in Vegas. I don't know. It was like a weird situation, but like, I couldn't stay silent. But I mean, he was like saying all this shit, and I was like, "What in the world do you think that they gain out of it other than being shamed?"
Exactly
and
that
not
point.
believed for the most
a lot
part.
of these people, they end up losing their job.
I know,
because their companies don't want the added publicity. Okay. On top of that, people don't believe them. They think that they're lying. They think that they must have worn something or dressed a certain way to kind of cause the chain reaction of that person to sexually assault them.
Or that they're just fucking making it up and trying to be opportunistic. Like, literally nobody wants that. Nobody wants to have to come forward for something like that, So
nobody wants to put themselves in that position. I mean, you look at Terry Crews, for instance, who today...
Oh, I know. What did he do today?
He actually named the person who grabbed him by the dick. Yes, he did.
Terry. So much love to you, Terry. That's awesome.
For someone like him, who's basically fostered this image of machismo,
Sure.
And
it's a big dude.
And everything, to basically come out and say, yeah, that happened to me. I was sexually assaulted by a big-time Hollywood producer who basically looked at me and said, yeah, who's going to believe you?
Well, and two, I think, too, because he was like this, like, the Hollywood exec was like a little weenie, small guy. And, like, I mean, Terry Crews is a brick shithouse.
Yeah.
Is that okay to say? He's a big dude.
He's a big dude.
And if he'd done anything, I mean, he would have been the one in trouble.
And that's the whole thing.
Okay, so he was assaulted by Adam Venit.
Yes. He's one of the big time...
William Morris Endeavor.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, he's huge. Like,
And
everybody knows him.
Good.
Everybody knows him.
Wow, he filed a police report too.
But, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he did.
Good for him.
Yeah, he did.
Good for him. Well, that's awesome. Everybody, we're all trying to get through this shit together. I loved the whole story. Now, this isn't actually 100% true, but the myth was that Gal Gadot refused to come back for Wonder Woman 2 if Brett Ratner's company was going to be involved in any way, because Rat Pack Dune was going to be, it's his financing company, I guess.
Yeah,
Rat Pack Dune,
his money.
which helped fund Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But I guess it was a sentiment felt throughout the cast. Gal Gadot was on today, Good Morning America, just kidding. And she said she wasn't like threatening to leave.
Yeah.
She just said that nobody really wanted his company a part of things, and that's it. And what I think is so interesting about that story is that when she first was signed on to be Wonder Woman, they didn't sign her to a multi-picture deal. So she could have walked away and they would have been fucked.
They didn't know how big Wonder Woman would be.
They fucking should have. Like, I've had to sit through all these terrible dude comic book movies. Let me sit through a pretty good woman one.
You have to understand, prior to Wonder Woman, people thought that people would not see.
People are fucking dumb.
People are fucking dumb. I'm not saying all people. We're just saying people
those
in
people
Hollywood.
that didn't think that
the studio
a
execs,
female superhero movie would do well.
And that's the
that's
problem.
what we're saying.
Yeah, that's what we're saying. But they
maybe
didn't
some
think
people
so.
are dumb. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just
I don't know all people.
Just kidding. I don't either. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think this is a really interesting time. I think this is something that like is so important, and I'm really as tough as it is to get through this right now. If anybody else, Dustin Hoffman had like allegations, and then did you see Alec Baldwin made like a statement? You know, his team was like, Alec, you better just get in front
shut
of
up.
this, whatever. But I mean, just like all this stuff that's coming out, I just want to fucking know. And two, I think like we're seeing a lot of cool things in the different.
Tom Hanks is still the nicest person alive.
Thank God. Oh God. If anything, I won't
Did you see the
survive.
memes? Did you see the memes?
Survive? No.
There were memes saying allegations have just come out that Tom Hanks is still the nicest person in Hollywood.
Seriously. And I think it's cool, like, because the new generation really seems to be catching on to this. Did you see Stranger Things, Mike, played by Finn Wolfhard?
Yes.
agent was accused of sexual misconduct with
Really?
another minor, like another actor. Like he
Wow.
didn't touch Finn, but like I think like an 11-year-old.
Jesus
and
Christ.
Finn was like, "Cool, you're not my manager anymore." Like he just literally fired him like that. So
Wow.
maybe we'll see some stuff in the future that
I just think
this,
you have
this
to
behavior will no longer.
you
be
have to have a
tolerated.
culling, so to speak. This is what this is. It's a culling
And I'm
of
fine
this
with it.
bad behavior that honestly has not just hit Hollywood. It's hit all areas of people in power.
And I
think that you just
I
have
need
to
that
put your foot
to
down
happen.
and just say this shit's we're done.
yeah,
I hope that it expands to politics because
that would be great.
that's kind of where we're at now. If it starts at Hollywood and kind of goes all the way up to politics, we're fine.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, this
hear
is
ya.
good that this stuff is coming out. I'm glad that
Yeah.
people are coming forward.
Yeah,
and
me too.
Coming
Me
out of the
too.
shadow,
And-
so to speak.
And like I said, nobody, owes anybody anything, but, I think that this is like the perfect
Yep.
news bit to kind of start this, episode of
Yep.
it's going to be a lot of talking about consent and we're going to try not to fuck it up. So
We'll fuck it up.
that's okay. So we'll throw Tapacast.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So we'll give some messages that are not about any of this stuff. And then when we come back, we're going to talk teeth.
Hey guys, this is Marta from Marta on the Move. I hope you're enjoying this podcast. When you're done with this one, you should go check out mine on www.martaonthemove.com. On the Epicast Network, you can find me on Twitter at I Can't Find Marta. If you like interesting people and places in Pittsburgh, food and drink, travel advice, and general nerdery, check it out and keep it moving.
And we're back. That was a message from our friends over at the Epicast Network, specifically Marta on the Move. Great podcast. If you love, first of all, you love interviews with Pittsburgh people, specifically like Rick Seaback. You might not know who the hell that is.
Oh my God. Rick
But
Seaback.
she gets the best interviews.
Pittsburgh treasure.
With Pittsburgh
Rick Seaback.
treasures. Okay.
She's a Pittsburgh treasure.
She is a Pittsburgh treasure. Number 2, best podcast in the city.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
Oh my God, I was happy to see that.
So
I was happy to see that.
definitely check her out at epicastnetwork.com. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, this week's episode is going to be about the cult classic. I guess you'd call it a cult classic.
Yeah, because it didn't make any money. Isn't that what we say when it didn't make any money?
Yeah, kind of. 2007's Teeth.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
it's a fun one.
well, the funniest thing is, when I was watching this movie, I was looking at the, at the clothes and at the phones. And when I finally saw the phones, I was like, wait, what year did this come out? Because they're all flip phones or
They're all-
less. You know what I
they're
mean?
less.
There's like a Nokia, that like early brick IKEA, like one of those.
Yep.
And I was like, wait, I'm sorry, what year was this?
Yep.
It was 2007. So this year is like its 10th anniversary.
And this came out at the same time that Nip Tuck. You remember that show?
Oh, I remember that show.
Because
really?
the one actor in this, John Hensley,
Mm-hmm.
played the son in that show. And this is like right at his peak popularity.
Wait, he's the one that played her brother, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So in this movie, I mean, there's so much to talk about, but all I could think was that so the main character, Dawn, her stepbrother, when he's an adult, he looks like the human version of Sid from Toy Story.
Yes, he does.
He literally, that's what Sid grew up to
Yes,
look
he
like.
does.
It's fucking eerie.
It's kind of creepy.
Spooky, honestly. And I had
really
a
is
hard time. I
creepy.
mean, it's a comedy anyway, but I had a really hard time taking him seriously because I was like, you look like Sid,
It's
you look like Sid.
it's a
I couldn't stop.
Dark horror comedy.
It is. And it's funny,
But it's not like Shaun of the Dead. I think that's very important to say.
Oh, that is very important because, they were allowed to be very comedic outwardly. So, all right, let's just dive in.
Mm-hmm. You
We're
wanna
gonna
dive
do our
right in?
best. So, this is the story of a girl who's like the president of her chastity club, and she finds out that she has the legend of the vagina dentata inside of her, which is an old legend.
Well, it's not. I mean, she's viewing it as a legend, but it's important to note that her house is kind of, the backyard of it is a nuclear power plant.
Oh, that's true. You know what? I was smart
So
enough
there
to
is
figure
that.
out. I was smart enough to figure out that that's probably what made her mom sick, but I didn't connect the two.
Nah, that's what I looked at.
But originally, the idea of vagina dentata, I didn't think that was bullshit in the film. I think it is a folklore kind
It
of
is a
thing. It's a
folklore
folk
thing,
tale,
yes.
I mean, there's some counts of there actually being something going on, really affecting the vagina, but that's more of like a cyst kind of situation.
Yeah.
We won't really talk about that.
This isn't a medical show.
A little gross.
Little
But
nasty.
yeah, so that's sort of how it starts. It starts with her talking about purity, and the whole thing just struck me as so funny because it doesn't get everything right that I wanted. It's because it's about consent. It's about, rape, which I don't love, as a vehicle for film. And I feel like this movie was a lot like I Spit on Your Grave in that respect, because it was almost like revenge. For
I
the
see
act,
it. I mean, for me, I can see that. I also look at it as there's a couple ways to look at it. One, if you look at reviews of this particular movie, you find two different camps, and I actually looked at a couple of them.
Interesting, yeah.
People either love it, so they're like me, or I love this movie. I own a copy of it, and I'm one of these people who, if I don't love the movie, or I'm not even like a diehard person over it, I'm not going to buy the DVD for it.
Right.
It's just not me. I'm very selective of what movies I decide to purchase. Mm-hmm. So I love this movie, but there also are people out there who hate it.
Well,
and they don't get it.
It's very visceral, and I think you have to get it. So I would say I got it, but I just have some questions and maybe some problems. Like, number one, written and directed by Mitchell Lichtenstein.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that a male filmmaker, like writer filmmaker, is the right person to write a movie about vaginas.
Yeah.
I don't think he got everything quite right. There were some things that didn't make any sense. But we can kind of dig in and talk a little bit about this. So this was, speaking of our news story, this was distributed by Dimension Extreme Films, which is part of the Weinstein Company, and it came out like Brian said in 2007.
Yep.
And it was pretty critically well received, but it didn't really make any money, and the filmmakers had a lot of trouble getting this distributed and, getting any kind of power behind it. Lionsgate really downplayed it. This was sort of when like Saw was still in its early.
Right. I'd say it's no, not necessarily when it was early.
Well, there's like 8,000 of those movies. I thought like around 2 or 3.
I think it was around 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's early, because there's like 8 of those fucking movies, Brian.
I fucking hate those movies.
I know. But yeah, so I mean, it was like kind of around then. So they tried to, I think, market it in the same vein, but it's not. It's a dark comedy. It's a satire. It also has a lot to say, I think, about the American education system when it comes to reproductive health, and
I think it says a lot about discovering the changes in our bodies. Like this character, Dawn, played by, and I'm going to...
Jess Wexler? I'm not sure how you say it.
I think it's Wexler.
We talked about this, and she's on The Good Wife now. That's like
yeah,
her thing.
So I think it kind of comes at two different points, and this is why I actually like this movie. At one point, it's about a girl who is going through the changes, as an adult. Okay, you could take that and say, well, she's already gone through puberty, but a lot of people believe that the difference between being an adult and being a child is being sexually active. I don't know if I necessarily buy that, but that's kind of
it's certainly
idea.
A benchmark that lots of people hold.
Yes, so it's an exploration of that person discovering that part of their personality about a part of their body. So then there's the obvious horror of that, and that honestly gets into a lot of body horror. So like I love David Cronenberg, and this is kind of his kind of foray.
I see what you're saying.
Is into the body horror side. The other side, it also definitely does talk about some of the puritanical bullshit that you see in our society when it comes to discussing sex. People make sex out to be the boogeyman.
It's true. It's weird that we are so puritanical still, even as a society, because other nations aren't like that at all. Young people are taught in other countries, about their bodies, about sex, about being safe, and other countries even go so far as to say, like, you should probably like whoever you're getting naked with, and you should feel safe with them, and they should listen to what you like and what you don't, and like, I mean, to take it even that step further, that's very foreign to our experience. But there's this great scene early in the film when they're in health class, and there's just like this big foil sticker
It looks like a ribbon sticker, too.
It does. It kind of looks like the Newbery winner.
Yes.
You know, when you like have that on the paperback for the Children's Award. But it's like this big foil sticker that's like over top of the vagina illustration.
Yep.
And the teacher is like, okay, so we've learned about the penis. He can't even bring himself to say the word vagina.
Nope.
It's insane that he can't even bring himself to say it.
What I do love is people are like, well, what's under the sticker? And Dawn, who hasn't discovered yet that she has the vagina dentata, is like, well, women have a natural modesty about themselves.
And everybody laughs at her. You know, her very militant stance on chastity is kind of derided by her peers.
Yes.
But her like followers are all about it. Like she's
Yes.
giving this speech in the very first scene of the film where she's talking about being pure and everything. And I mean, her listeners are eating it up, you know? It's weird. Do you remember the movie Saved?
I have the movie saved on DVD.
I love that movie.
Great movie.
Didn't it feel kind of like you were going through the film almost as Mandy Moore's character?
In Teeth?
Kind of, like at the beginning in the chastity stuff where she was like very devout and like wouldn't
A little bit,
bend.
yes. A little bit, yes.
It kind of felt like going through life as her character, just a little. I mean,
What was funny is later in the film, after she's, killed her boyfriend and, what else has she done in that? Yeah, this was right after she killed her boyfriend, where she's just completely in a malaise and can't really tout the whole, abstinence, this purity ring stuff, because she's discovered what she is.
oh, I see. After she kills Toby, I see
Yes.
what you're saying. Yeah, it's funny because like you say boyfriend, and like I actually have like a huge beef with Google. So if anybody out there knows how to like fix Google, please tell me, because so the whole thing of this film is, she's pure. She has this purity stance.
Yep.
She wears a purity ring.
Yep.
But she meets this boy
Toby.
and they like each other. And he basically manipulates her as much as he can
Yeah, he does.
to try to get her naked.
Yep.
And when she says no, he struggles with her so much he cracks her head against a rock. Mm-hmm. And when she's out of it, he just goes ahead and rapes her
Yep. And then she bites his penis off
with her vagina.
with her vagina.
And
And kills him.
We're gonna talk. Well, he died from the blood loss, we assume, right?
Yep.
So
A lot of blood there.
But what we're gonna discuss, well, there's so much we have to talk about. But what I want to say is that when you Google this film, the blurb, if you will, that comes up on Google says Dawn is an active member of her high school chastity club, but when she meets Toby, nature takes its course and the pair answer the call.
Rape is not nature taking its course.
Do you see why I'm pissed?
Yeah.
And it said they suddenly learn she is a living example of the vagina dentata myth when the encounter takes a grisly turn. No, shit was already grisly. He was raping her,
Yeah.
and her body was defending itself.
Yeah, I mean, and later in the film, you find out that she does have control over it.
She does, and if consent's a part of the equation, then it's fine. But if not,
Dicks
then
get ripped
dicks
off.
are getting ripped off. And that I thought was an interesting metaphor for consent. I mean, one of the things that really struck me in the film is that I didn't trust any of the men in her life.
Not even her father?
I wasn't sure what was coming. I didn't know how messed up the movie was going to be. I wanted to like him. I wanted to trust him, but I didn't fully.
They also didn't give him much screen time.
No,
You know?
and it turned out like he was a fine character. He was probably the only dude.
He was
that
the
was
only.
okay.
I mean, I guess the teacher in the beginning was kind of a minor character. But I mean, he was a male character, but he really didn't.
Well, I mean, there were male characters that didn't rape, but characters in her life that didn't do anything to
Big
her.
major-
I mean,
yeah.
and this is a couple nitpicky things like that I didn't think made a lot of sense. Because I thought it would have been a nice contrast to the satire that was going on, because she, when she thinks like, oh my god, I think I'm like ripping dicks off with my vagina, she goes to get checked out. Mm-hmm. And when she goes to the doctor, I thought it would have been a better scene in the context of the film if that had gone okay, if he'd been like, just relax, like everything's okay, like I'm here to take care of you, or I'm here to like figure out anything that's going on. I think if that had been a successful doctor's appointment, spoiler alert, her vagina bites off 4 of his fingers.
Well, that's because the son of a bitch takes his glove off and starts fingering her with his fingers.
Well, he's not really hurting her. He just said, relax. Was he attacking her?
Yeah.
I thought he was examining her.
No, he took his glove off.
Did he?
Yes.
I did not see that part. Okay.
Yes, he took his glove off.
Oh my God. I literally watched it. How did I not see that?
And started basically fingering her.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, then
Yeah.
fuck that guy. Well, I still think it would have been better if it had been a successful. Because if you're going to slam the school system for not teaching us
Right.
about our bodies, I think we should have been rewarded with a scene where the doctor was there to take care of you because, you know, he is. Like, most of them are.
Well, I mean, my wife and I watched this movie, and she had already seen it before, and
Mm-hmm.
one thing she said during that scene, she's like, listen, that is completely unrealistic. When you go in for an appointment like that, there's always a female nurse.
Or two, I mean, like, I mean,
Or it's a female doctor.
nothing against dudes, but I would never have a male gyno.
Right, but what I'm saying is there's always a female presence in the room.
Yeah,
is
it's
what
never
she
just
said.
you and a doctor.
It's never
That's
just you and a
true.
doctor.
That's
So
true.
she said that's kind of, phony. I had no problem with that scene. I understand
Well,
why
now
they
that I
did
understand it, it was a little relentless, but I guess, like, it was just a nice reinforcing message because this is something that I'm aware of is, like, you don't really know if you're safe when you're alone with a guy
Right.
as a woman. You
Right.
really don't know.
Right.
You know, if they're a stranger, you
Right.
know? So,
Right.
So after she bites Toby's dick off and
Mm-hmm.
messes up that dude's hand, then is that when she goes to Ryan's
Yes.
and he fucking, like, drugs her?
Yeah, he drugs her.
So much wrong with
And-
this fucking movie.
She kind of gets out of the drug state and then just
No, I think she's
was
still
she
drugged.
totally
This
drugged?
is like fucked up. Like this scene didn't make any sense to me
Yeah.
because she's all upset because her mom's really sick. That's like a background element of the film. And there's like a huge power plant, like we had said before, like a nuclear power plant in the town that they bike past all the time.
Yep.
And so that was why I assumed her mom was so sick. And she's like in the hospital, right?
she's in the hospital. Yes.
Yeah, and she's really sick. So I guess Dawn really doesn't feel like she has anywhere to go,
Right.
and so she goes to her friend Ryan, who had like asked her out the previous day.
He basically, he had asked her out. He gave her a card, which I'm like, that's kind
calling
of weird.
card. It was weird.
It's kind of weird and fucked up. I'm like,
Well, because he's
okay,
established
1920s
barely
person.
in the beginning as like being interested in her, but that scene wasn't super clear. And then when we got to him
Well,
later,
it was literally a couple seconds of him talking to his boy,
Yeah,
and saying
it
like,
was weird.
"Oh yeah, she's a hot piece of ass," something along those lines.
Gross.
And just kind of like you got the idea that he had some sort of like contest with him to try to see who
nails her
who
first,
can nail
right?
her first.
Right.
You know?
We're swinging this back to like the 90s with those like, am I a fucking bet movies?
Yeah.
Looking
Yeah.
at you, she's all that.
Seriously.
So that's like kind of, part of things as well. But when we get to the Ryan scene, again, like I didn't fucking trust him. And I think that's the point. Like anytime she's alone with a dude, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And it does turn out that she can successfully have consensual sex.
Yep.
The teeth don't come out. But
Because
then-
she was under the impression that because she told him everything.
Yeah, and she thought she
And
murdered Toby.
She thought
and
she murdered Toby.
Toby
She thought,
fucking got what he deserved.
yeah, he did. And she thought that the doctor was dead and all that stuff because his fingers got ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
So she at this point, and her mom's dying. At this point, she just kind of lost it.
Yeah, she's
And
at her wit's
just-
end. Who wouldn't be? Because, too,
Yeah.
I think, like, this is an illustration of the dangers of not knowing your own body and, like, the school system or your parents not allowing you to.
Mm-hmm.
Because, too, I think part of, like, her issue is that she didn't even really know what her vagina looked like anyway,
Right.
much less the teeth in it,
And that's what I'm saying. I like this movie because it goes into the ignorance that is perpetrated by people who view sex as a dangerous thing.
I like that, too.
That part I really did
It actually made
like.
sex a dangerous thing on multiple levels, where every guy that wanted it with her
Yes.
was an asshole.
Yes.
And then her vagina was like, but no, though.
Yeah, but
So-
anyway, she's with Ryan. Ryan drugs her, and she decides.
And so that for me, that muddied the consent situation, because I don't know how her like vagina didn't sense that she was drugged and like snip him that night. You know what I mean?
Well, she, as I said, while she was drugged, she did say you'll get hurt.
Oh yeah,
she was still cognizant
and
enough
she thought
to.
for sure that it was going to happen. But
Yeah.
I guess because she was consenting at that point. That's
Yes.
that's why it didn't happen. But I don't. But the idea is like you can't consent if you've been drugged. You can't
Right.
fully consent. That's a thing.
Right.
You know.
So, Ryan and Dawn have sex.
And he's fine.
He's fine. They feel the next morning that, oh, hey, I'm the top shit. Like that's what he thinks he is. He's top shit.
And they end up for like round 2.
They go for round 2, and his buddy calls him up, and he's like, hey, yeah, hear this. And
he's like proving that he's having sex with her, that she's there, and all of a sudden she's like, no, and her vagina clips that shit
off
because she realizes that she's being used, and she's like, but no, so I'm taking your dick too. I'd like to say also that these are like really well done, where they don't shy away from the violence of a severed dick, but they didn't glorify in it. You could tell like Eli Roth didn't direct it. You know what I mean? It wasn't too much.
It was just enough.
You see some bloody dick.
It was.
Okay?
You see stumps.
You
see some stumps and some blood
for it.
You see
Whoa.
some severed dickheads there. I mean,
Yes.
it's graphic enough.
Yeah, to be
But
upsetting.
it's not like, oh yes, bloody dick, see it get chopped off.
They're not
You didn't need to
wallowing
see
in
that.
it. No.
I also did like that we never once saw the vagina.
Oh my god,
dentata.
yes, I loved that. And
Never saw it.
Yes.
Didn't
yes.
need to see it.
Agreed.
Sound
Absolutely.
was perfect. You didn't need anything
the
else.
audio all around was really good in
Yeah.
this movie, I thought, because I was watching some of the deleted scenes just for my own curiosity, and the audio hadn't obviously been put in because who cares, except for like the regular and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is really lacking because the film really did a good job with the audio. But then, so she's done with that. She goes back to the hospital. Turns out her mom has passed away, and there's like a really upsetting scene where the dad's trying to throw out the brother.
Yes.
She has a stepbrother, and I guess like so the very first scene in the movie, I feel like I've done a terrible job.
We've
of this recap.
jumped all
I'm
over
so
the
sorry,
place.
guys.
It's fine.
But the very first scene is when they're little kids and their parents are just dating. They're their stepbrother and sister, and he like whips his dick out, and he's like, "What do you think? 7?"
He's got to be 7.
She's like 3.
Yeah.
And he whips his dick out, and he's like, "Well, let's see yours." And then all of a sudden, he has a cut on his finger so deep he needs stitches. And you can tell he molested her, and her vagina was like, no.
Yep.
Like early on, I mean, ever since she was born.
Yep.
So the stepbrother is fucking creepy and
He
terrifying.
is the worst character in the whole movie. Like
He's awful.
He is an awful human being. You want him to get it so bad, and he
He's a
does.
piece of shit.
So in this whole movie, one, he is just like you said, he's Sid. Grown up.
He looks just
He's
like
got
him.
the
It's
worst fucking
insane.
fake tattoos I've ever seen.
They're really fake.
They are so shitty.
They're too
like
fresh.
too fresh, all black.
Oh, he was in one of the Hostel movies, the actor.
Yeah, he was. He was
played
in
by
Hostel
John
3.
Hensley. And like
He was in Nip Tuck.
And Nip Tuck. Like you said, yeah.
But he's got a thing for his stepsister. He has like a sexual thing for his stepsister.
And I think he thinks he's in love with her, but he doesn't understand anything about love or consent. He's just gross, and he just wants to like bang his stepsister like Cruel Intention style.
Yeah.
Only creepier. It's
creepier.
It's gross because he's like
He gets in
very
fights with his
sexually experienced.
girlfriend in every scene. Like,
because he's like always anally penetrating her.
yeah, and that's partially because of the fact of the experience he had with Dawn in the beginning of the film.
Right. That makes sense.
That's why he's kind of only wants to do anal.
That makes sense. I buy that.
So what kind of leads to the end of this movie, the climax, if you will. Basically, the father, after his wife passes away, decides that he's going to kick the son out because the son was having sex with his girlfriend
And
while
ignored the mom.
and ignored the mom who had died, who had passed out. And he said, "Son, I'm throwing you out." And they get in a huge fight. He sicks his dog
Yeah, that was
on
scary.
the
I
father.
thought the dad was going to die. I was so
he
scared.
calls the dog mother, which is just a fucking
so weird.
insult.
He named his dog Mother. Isn't
Yeah,
that weird?
yeah. Sicks the dog on him. You don't really know what the hell happens to the dad after that. He just kind of like disappears.
Well, I mean, he's there. He's there to deal with like everything.
Oh, he meets up with Dawn. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Dawn eventually goes back to the house, finds that the brother's there, and at this point, she knows what happened. She knows that the brother basically was there while the mother passed away. and didn't do shit.
didn't help her.
And so she's going to get revenge. And
because he says, like, in as many words that he wants to fuck her, so she knows his weakness.
Yes. And so she does, and it's actually beautiful the way that the scene is shot. So you know as the audience what's coming, but John Hensley's character doesn't realize until it's too late for him what actually happened, because he kind of blocked out the memory of him being 7 years old and getting his finger snipped by her vagina. And it isn't until he's inside of her and realizes, oh my God.
Like right before it's too late.
Right before it's too late. It's a beautiful scene the way it's shot. Like, I'm just like, this is great.
It's going to happen.
And sure enough, dick gets chopped off. He's bleeding everywhere. She drops the dick.
Yeah.
And it
Oh
falls to
my
the ground.
God. That was nuts.
And he's screaming.
And then the dog eats
The dog comes up, and no, it's not just he eats it. The dog like bites it, and he holding onto it in his mouth. And he's just like, drop it, please drop it. And he eats it.
He takes like a bite out of it, and like all that's really left is like the pierced head.
There's nothing left of it though. Like the dog eats the whole thing.
I thought the dog like just spit out the pierced head.
No, the dog ate the whole dick.
Oh,
Whole dick's
beautiful,
gone.
Beautiful.
And then Dawn basically walks out of the room.
Like, I'm out. Mic drop. Only
Mike
a
dropped
dick
at
drop.
that point. Dick dropped.
Dick drop. I'm out.
Yeah, and
And he's just like howling and screaming, and he's in
bleeding to
shock,
death.
and he's bleeding, and
he's
she
bleeding
just,
to death.
She just leaves.
She just leaves. And honestly, like the whole movie, you're sitting there going like, I want this fucker to get it really bad.
I know.
And it happens, and you're just, it's such a just washes over you.
Seriously, it's so good.
So the end of the movie basically ends with Dawn hitchhiking and really taking control of this power that she has.
Yeah, I guess. And I mean, it was weird because like I couldn't decide if she was just running away from home because like nothing was holding her back anymore, or she was like an adult.
I think
on her
she was
own,
running away from home because of obviously Toby's murder.
Yeah.
The situation with Ryan, who's not dead.
Yeah, Ryan looked like he was going to live.
He looked like he was going to live. They were putting his penis back on.
They were.
The doctor's getting his fingers put back on. I imagine that, Brad's dead, the brother, bleeding to death. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no,
that
definitely.
fucker's dead.
And I don't think the dad's going to be very sad.
No, not at all.
Like, hated
but
that
my
dude.
guess is that she's running away from that situation.
Just because of, like, possible ramifications or,
And it ends in this great shot where she's with this creepy fucking old guy who's just, like, sticking his tongue at her. Like, he's just like, it's really
so
nasty.
Uncomfortable because she's hitchhiking with him, and when they get somewhere, she won't let him out. He won't let her out of the car.
Yeah.
And he's making these disgusting faces at her, and he's like 1,000,000 years old. It made me so uncomfortable. It was so gross.
And
It was not okay.
she's just at first frustrated, and then the next minute she's just like,
You know what? I can deal with this.
you know what, I can deal with it. I'm going to use
kill you.
my power now.
Yeah.
And that's the part I like is the movie itself. It starts off with a person who doesn't know the power that she has. Mm-hmm. She gets frightened by the power that she has when she discovers the vagina dentata. Mm-hmm. And then learns over the course of the movie to wield that power to her advantage.
Yeah, and I think the message of fully knowing yourself, fully accepting yourself, and, allowing yourself to be free from judgments, because she does a lot of judging.
She does. She is very much a judgy person.
Without any of the experiences to make a fair judgment, So I think, too, like, the idea, like, this destigmatizes sex itself.
Yeah.
I think that's important, too,
Yep.
So,
I love this movie. I know a lot of people don't.
Well, I think it's
I hope
polarizing.
talking about it maybe made you like it a bit more.
And I never said I didn't like it. I mean, there's a lot of positive that I can see here, but I do think the writing is muddy with the Ryan storyline. I think that wasn't handled super well because you don't know if you're supposed to root for him or not at first, because the writing,
I always saw Ryan you weren't supposed to root for him.
Well, because the writing in the beginning was so bad, I had to go back and be like, wait, what did he say to his friend? And then I realized, oh, fuck, girl, you're in like the viper pit.
No, I always knew that the Ryan character was really a snake in the grass.
Yeah, and like that
and
was, but that
her
was
own
something
naivete basically at the time.
Yeah, and her vulnerable position.
That's what I mean. She was vulnerable at the time and really,
So like that
didn't know what the hell to do.
That was something that like I just and like I paid attention certainly, and you don't have to beat anything over the head with me, for story and everything, but it just was a little muddied, in that part in the beginning. So I didn't quite realize like that he was as nefarious as he was.
I think there are points in this movie where they literally thought, hey, this would be a good gag to do.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's the one
of
thing
it are
I will
very
say.
Funny when the doctor's like screaming, "Vagina dentata, it's real!" Like, I mean, I was laughing my ass off.
I cracked up.
It was awesome, but the only other thing I'll say is just I don't love any story that needs rape to tell it. Now, in this case, I think you have to have it. Needs rape to tell it, and so I'm at odds with that a little bit because not everybody can.
But
watch
here's
that,
the one thing: no one glorifies rape in this movie.
No, I mean it's clear that they're the bad guy.
Exactly.
For sure. Except apparently Google, who has this like built.
Well, Google's an idiot. but what I'm saying is that's the one thing I did like about this movie is anytime that rape was shown, it wasn't a glorified. It wasn't,
and it was
anything like that.
Scenes.
It was very not just. It was quick. It was violent enough for us, the audience, to know this is wrong. You shouldn't be doing this. I hope you get it.
She's very vocally saying,
I hope you get it, and they do. Yeah. Every person who was horrible in this movie ends up getting what they deserve.
That's true.
So I did enjoy that part.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't think there's any other way you tell this story.
No, I
mean,
I see what you're saying, but you just know how I feel about that in general.
Yeah,
so,
I definitely do.
We didn't talk about Jess Weixler, but she is amazing in this.
She is amazing.
This was like the first thing she really did, wasn't it?
Yeah, one of the first things. Yes,
she is so perfect in this. I feel like her performance is almost even better than the writing because, like, just she commits fully to the character, and she just brings like an earnest innocence to the parts of Dawn before Dawn, discovers a lot about herself. Like, she just brings so much to the character. And
she turns a character that on paper, you could say has almost like a 1 to 2 dimensionality to it, and really fleshes it out. I mean, you really feel for what she's going through. We've all gone through that. And I mean, you can break it down to puberty. Whenever someone goes through puberty, the first time they really discover that they're changing, it's scary as shit.
It is scary. What's that line from The Princess Diaries? She says, "I'm 15. I'm still waiting for normal body parts to arrive."
Right, but that's what I'm saying is I think a lot of people, if they look at this movie and they think back to when they first went through puberty, what that felt like, what was going in your head at the time, that all these things are changing. You're getting these different thoughts and urges and all sorts of weird shit. You got hair coming from places that you didn't know you could get hair at, and just all sorts of weird shit. This is very much the same sort of feeling, and she brings that to the character. I really did feel for her.
She's brilliant in this.
Her facial reactions were funny as all hell, though.
Even just with her eyes, like she could emote so well, and she won the special jury prize, I think, at the Sundance premiere that this one was at in 2007. She won the dramatic category.
Wow.
And I can see why, because I mean she's so good in this. Like, she really brought up a level to the character that just wasn't on the page. Like, I mean, just with like
John Hensley does a good job playing a piece of shit. I'll give him that.
He was, there was something like that really evil that glittered in his face that made me
and
very uncomfortable.
It's the same sort of character that you see in Nip Tuck. The character he plays in Nip Tuck.
I see.
I mean, it's very
where you just want him to be like destroyed.
Well, yeah, I mean, in that show, he plays the son who's just kind of a little shit the whole damn time, and just gets into really weird, bizarre stuff. Like there's a whole season where he is hanging out with a neo-Nazi girl, and then the next season he's in love with a transvestite. I mean, it's just crazy. If you ever want to see a really crazy, bizarre show, watch Nip Tuck. That show is very odd. It's bizarre.
Well, it's Ryan Murphy. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I mean, seriously. But aside from that, I mean, it really there wasn't a whole lot of screen time for Hale Appleman, who played Toby.
He really didn't do anything after this either. I mean, he was fine. He was okay in it. I didn't have any problems, but I mean, he wasn't as inspired as, the workers around him, I didn't think.
No. I mean, this was really Jess Wexler's film.
It was her bit to shine, for sure.
Definitely.
She was amazing. So
cool.
So yeah, I mean, I'm super glad I saw it. Like I said, I didn't dislike it, and I really liked the subtle satire that they were putting down because, like I said, I mean, that bit alone with the textbooks in the classroom, I mean, that was genius.
Definitely.
Genius.
Definitely.
So yeah, I give it 2 teeth up.
2 teeth up. Okay. Well, Len, where can they find you on the Twitters?
You can find me on Twitter at LA_Croft. That's where I live.
Where can they find John?
Oh, yeah, you can find John at the Unreal J Rules.
Yeah, he didn't have a goofy catch,
He's pink on the
phrase. Yeah, he's pink on the inside.
That's what his Twitter
That's what he
says. It
all
makes
the
me
time.
so happy.
You can find me at Brian Clayton. I also run the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google+, at Psycho Show. You can also find us on the Epicast Network at epicastnetwork.com. If you have a favorite movie or question you want to throw our way, or you want to talk to us a little about teeth and vagina dentata, you can contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. Make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes. Send us a rate, send us a review. We love getting those. And catch a new episode available every Sunday. And I just want to say, have a happy Thanksgiving, plenty of turkey, and pass the fuck out.
We missed you, John.
Epicast.